Hi everybody, welcome to a Facebook Live with Jeannie. I am Jeannie Nielsen, the card lady. Very excited to be here with you tonight. I got stuck in a little bit of traffic coming back from my friend Kathy's house. Kathy, thank you so much for tonight or this afternoon. Your message to me was invaluable. But Kathy is a fellow demonstrator up in Londonderry, New Hampshire, and I picked her brain for the afternoon on how to provide better customer service, better classes for you guys. So anyway, tonight is a special online workshop. You don't expect me tonight, but here I am. Hopefully this is going to go smoothly. All of my card stuff is already prepared for these classes, so it should be relatively easy. The only thing I didn't do, and I will have to do as we go along, is die cut the Wisteria Wishes blossoms as we go along. But everything else should be ready to go. And that's how you are going to get your kit in the mail. If you place a $25 order with me this week, you're going to get this class kit in the mail. Fully ready to go and ready to use. So anyway, you will need your own stamps, but the dies, I will do the die cutting for you. And because the stamps are clear, you should be okay. The only thing I can't do is stamp the sentiments as well. And I did use, actually, I think I used the sentiments from the stamp set, so you should be all set to go. Anyway, let's see if this is going to work tonight. You remember last week, it was kind of a disaster with my Facebook Live. Thank you so much to all of you that commented and reached out to me. I felt very loved and very supported, and you gave me so much grace. I'm back for more. So let's see if the wand is going to work tonight. I think it is. I see the little wrench there, so I can go down. I have a July host code. It wasn't the one I was going to include, but go ahead and use this host code. You use this host code between now and next Monday, and I will send you this card kit in the mail. So here we go. Let's flip down. Don't get dizzy. Sorry, my space is not that clean. I worked all weekend as a nurse, so I tried to be ready for this, but you know me. So let's get ready to go. Okay. Here's the July host code. Like I said, it's not the one I intended to use, but we're going to be okay with that. Okay, so these are the four cards we did in last week's card class. And there was so much positive feedback on them. I absolutely love them. This one uses the dies. This uses the True Beauty die, the large background die, and I actually do that for you with this card. In class, we randomly stamped, and then we did it. For today, we are going to randomly stamp on the die already because that's how you will receive it. And then I've already done the die cuts. This is from the Hues of Happiness designer paper, and it's just so beautiful. Let me move the other cards out of the way for now, and we will get right on to this card and get going and get stamping. Thank you for joining. As you know, I can't do two things at the same time, so I have not set it up so I can see your comments, but please leave me comments, and if you have questions, let me know that as well. I will answer them in the comments later, because like I said, I won't necessarily see what you're doing. Okay, so this is the card. Hang in there is the name of the, is the sentiment. And once again, I didn't grab the Wisteria Wishes stamp set so that I could show you. Oh, I do have it. Here it is. Here's the Wisteria Wishes stamp set. Isn't that so beautiful? So you've got these blossoms, and as you see from my other cards, I use them upright. This is the poker flower, the red hot poker flower. I did look at some flowers later, and I did realize that it is actually not true to form. It should have been yellow going up to red, but I love this way, so this is what we're doing. I used it facing upwards and as Christmas trees, and this is more like delphiniums. Oh, nope, this was the wisteria hanging down. So let's get right to this and have fun making this. So, like I said, we're going to start with a card base. The card base is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I score everything for you, so you're all set to go. Next, what I have is my background die cut. And like I said, this is from True Beauty. In class, we stamped it kind of randomly and then die cut it, but because I don't anticipate that everybody has this die, I die cut it for you, and I'm going to show you what you're going to do. We are going to take the Fresh Freesia ink, and we are just going to randomly stamp all over this. Now, when you look at this, I just did a couple of different bundles. I just did like 2 across the top, 3 across the middle, another 2. So there really isn't that much stamping. Last week when people came to my class, they did such a beautiful job and they covered this with stamping. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna stamp all over. Make sure you turn your stamp so that it is truly random. And of course, because there are open holes, I'm not going to hit every space. I'm going to hit a lot of it, but not every space. You want to make sure you've got some scrap paper underneath you, or you could make a big mess. I've done a really good job of covering that with the Fresh Freesia ink, and this is our Wisteria Blossom stamp. What I will tell you from experience also is that if you don't clean this really well, it has lots of nooks and crannies. I had just a regular stamp cleaner on the table, and that's not going to work to clean the ink out of these grooves. So either use your microfiber cloth or your chamois. I tend to use a microfiber cloth more than my chamois, mostly because I misplaced my chamois and haven't found it, but I totally believe in the chamois as well. It's a really, really good stamp cleaner. Okay, so now that we've got this, if I was smart, I would have put adhesive on the back, but that's not my strong point, so we're not putting adhesive on. What I'm going to do is kind of randomly, you know, I should have a silicone mat here, and I don't, but I'm just going to, this glue is a little gobby, and that's not ideal for this, to use gobby glue on this fine details die cut. But just really get a couple of the intersections and make sure you get your corners and, you know, top and bottom, and it'll do a pretty good job sticking. And you can use your die cuts here to do some better sticking eventually. But so I've got my Highland Heather base, and I've got my Fresh Freesia die cut, and I'm just going to add this here. The glue is going to dry clear, so I will be okay. I do want to do a better job centering that. The reason I use glue is because I do have a tiny bit of time to move it, and once it's stuck though, it is really stuck. So we'll just call that good enough right there. And then, like I said, for this, I have already done the die cutting for you. So here is your white insert. You can stamp anything you want on the inside. I didn't stamp that. You do have your sentiment piece of cardstock here, and we are going to stamp that with the hang in there and gorgeous grape ink. So when you place your $25 order, I think I said $35, but when you place your $25 order, you will get this card kit in the mail. And I'm not over top of my paper, so I'm hoping that I'm doing a pretty decent job of applying this. Okay, so now I've got my die cuts here. With the green paper, these are both dies from the bundle. I am going to just add a little bit of glue on the back of some of these leaves and just kind of attach them. You can see the pretty pattern on the back here. Let's see, so let's just add a little bit of glue. So this was my last week's Wisteria Wishes card class, if you're just joining me. And I am offering this as a kit by mail. This is my online workshop. The way to get this is to place a $25 order in my store using my host code, which you see right there. Like I said, I meant to do another host code, but I forgot to type it up, so I may put in the comments the other host code. So But if you want to place your order right now so you can get this bundle, so if you were to place a $25 order, you'd get this card kit. If you were to place a $40 order, it doesn't matter that these are covering up and overlapping a little bit because my blossoms and my sentiment is going to cover that up. So I'm not worried about that. Actually, I may bring it down a little bit. Let's just bring it down a little bit. Down and maybe even hang straight down a little bit more. Okay, now what I have here, I didn't finish talking, but I will get to that in a second. I have 3 bunches of wisteria, and there are actually 2 dies, detailed dies, and I forgot that there was a second one, and I cut everything out of the one die. There is another die that's a little bit narrower and looks a little bit different. And maybe for the card kits that go in the mail, I will get to that, but I forgot to do that before this one. Okay, so with a $25 order, you're getting this card kit and printed instructions. I will print out the instructions and include it for you. And then of course you have all the directions from this link, from this video. You can rewatch and do whatever you want. Let's put that here. I'm using the mini dimensionals. And then I've got 2 more pieces of wisteria here. I'll add a couple more dimensionals. With a $40 purchase, don't forget you get entered into my scoops for a $50 product certificate at the end of August. So that's pretty cool. I won't draw at the very end of August because I will be in New Orleans for a leadership training for Stampin' Up. But by Labor Day, I will draw, and you guys can, whoever wins has a couple days to pick out $50 worth of product in my store. Very, very cool. I think I'm going to put that one a little bit higher. I tried to get some of them more pink, some of them more purple. So $25 gets you the class, $40 gets you a scoop for my summer scoop promotion, and of course $50 gets you a free product choice, a $50 product choice from Stampin' Up! For our celebration, which goes again until the end of August. This card kit is not going to last until the end of August. Don't wait that long because I'll have packed it away for a Stamp-A-Stack in the future after today. Okay, we're going to put this kind of right across here, I think, a little bit different. I'll use some different dimensionals. There's my paper snips. And I like to use the bones of my dimensionals as well, especially for my narrow sentiment strips. It works really well to save those. Okay. Got a little mess going on, but that is okay. There we go. Let me put this piece back. I don't need it right this second. Okay, we'll put hang in there right across here. And then my team member, Shirley, was saying that it needed a little something because the rest of mine used ribbon. So I have here the pastel pearls. Oh, this is not straight. Oh, it's also not fully peeled, so it's not going to stick as well. There we go. There we go. Okay, so I've got my take your pick tool, which I use for everything. I like the purple pearls. I could use lighter pearls if I wanted to, because, and you'll get pearls. You'll probably get the purple pearls in your kit, even though there are other colors, unless you email me and specify that you would like others. But I suppose those purple, which are probably more like the fresh freesia, would also match really nicely. So at this point though, I think it's going to be the dark purple pearls that you will get as part of your kit. So here we go with card number 1. And like I said, I do have an insert. I'll put that in after I stamp it. I like to stamp my sentiment before I insert it. because if I make a mistake, I still have the other side and I can flip it over and use that. So there is card number 1. And how long did that take me? Not long. Isn't that fabulous? So this one used die cuts. Not all of them use the die cuts though. I've also used the stamp. So let me move my purple pack out of the way. See, I've got my cards all ready to go. Everything in there. Got to make sure I don't stamp, put that away though, because I need the Wisteria for all the other cards. Okay, so for card number 2, let's do this card. I love this card. And you know what? I just realized I left my die cuts at the table. So hang on one second. My die. Well, that's fine. Howdy do. I did not leave the dies there. Where did I put my dies? Let's see. Well, we'll figure that out in a second. If worse comes to worse, I will hand cut around these rather randomly, but I don't see the dies right this second. Maybe I put them away in my package. Let's see. Nope, not here either. Okay, let's set that thought aside for a second. Oh, here they are. And the dies are not in here. Okay, we'll cut around them, and when you get them, they will be all set. So don't worry about that. That's easy enough to do. I am just going to randomly cut around just like that, so it's going to be easy. Okay, card number 2 is this card, and this card uses Starry Sky. I use Starry Sky designer paper. This is one of the in color designer papers, so that is all cut and already included in your kit. We have here a card. Oh, wrong kit. Here we go. Okay, so here we have everything that you will get in your kit, except that I will have die cut already the wisteria blossoms as well. So that's all ready for you because, like I said, this die is clear and you're going to be able to see it very clearly through that. Okay. We have one of our scalloped contour die cuts. I said in one of my previous ones that this was the 3rd largest. It's actually the 2nd largest. The largest itself is the size of a card front, and it has the decorative holes around the edges. This is the one I next go to almost all the time. This is kind of my go-to size. A lot of times I will do it in white, and then I will maybe cut a rectangle a tiny bit larger than that, just so that it has some background paper. Like this one, I could have put some white behind it just so it jumped out a little bit, and I didn't. But anyway, so you've got a bow already cut for you, already tied for you, I should say. This is the metallic in color ribbon all ready to go. Here is our piece that we are going to stamp with the leaves first. You guys hear my dogs barking upstairs? They usually do this as soon as I get online. Okay, so here is my bucket with, first of all, Pear Pizzazz ink. And for some reason, this Pear Pizzazz ink looks a tiny bit dark to me. I really didn't intend it to be that bright, but, or that intense, but it is what it is. So nothing I can do about that too much. Okay, what I'm going to do is just stamp this once, and I want the points of my wisteria to be upright. So I'm going to angle that so I see quite a bit of green, and my stems are facing downward. So there we go. I don't know if it's going to dry darker or lighter, but it is like I said, what it is. This is Pear Pizzazz. So whatever your Pear Pizzazz inks up as, this is what you get. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, this here is a piece of designer paper, not designer paper, cardstock that I'm going to use to cut out my wisteria blossoms. So I've got Starry Sky ink. I'm going to ink it up. If you were going to do this, I would make sure you have one of these stamp pads underneath you, one of these piercing pads. With this one especially, it's hard to get a good imprint if you don't have that, if you do it on a hard table surface. So let's do that, just like that. The other thing I like to do, and I say this over and over again, if I want to make sure that I'm going to get the full imprint, I also pick it up and kind of rub my finger underneath. And there you go, voila, there's my beautiful blue. Now hang on one second, I really do want to go once more. Oh yeah, there's my green. Yep, there's the dogs, you hear that? I have my sentiment here. To a friend who's all kinds of wonderful. And I'm going to stamp that again on this piece of cardstock that you have enclosed. Don't do that, because especially if you're going to rock the stamp, I'm going to make sure I don't rock the stamp. But if you do that, you are going to have smudges that you can't get rid of. So I go down, I hold it for a couple seconds, and then straight up. And I should not have, that's a juicy ink pad today. It's not usually... That's how you don't ink up a stamp, okay? Just to let you know. Okay, I'm going to go once more and see if the die cut is right there on the table. Hang on one second. Okay, it's not, and I can't find it. So I'm going to just cut around these very randomly, very quickly. This is not how it's going to work for you unless you choose not to use my die cut that's included in the package, because I will find it by next week. I worked all weekend, traveled this afternoon, got stuck in some traffic, and now, see, it's not that hard to go around, but you're going to like it much better if you use the die. I mean, these die bundles are fabulous, aren't they? Don't you love that they include all the die cuts now? Or the dies to match a lot of the stamps? If I had wanted to, I could separate these. I'm not going to separate these because I think they're going to line up just perfectly with my stem points that are on there. Boy, this is what you call another blooper. I'm sorry, I should have had this ready, but it'll be what it is. And you know what? When I do figure it out and find it, because I'm putting these on with dimensionals, I'll be able to peel it right back up very easily. But see, what I'm going to do is just take a couple of dimensionals. I'll just use the mini for now, since they're right next to me. You could use the larger ones. Just make sure you use dimensionals. Pop it up off the paper, because a card popped up has a lot more, holds a lot more interest, I feel like. It's not as simple as a one layer card. So I love to pop up my cards, and that, whether I do a good job stamping or not, makes it look special. So we're going to just put that right there. Okay, it would have looked better if it was die cut. It's not. So we're going to, what I'm going to do is get this back in the picture. This is the Starry Sky base. This is the contour rectangle. And I'm going to attach this right there, just like that. Did I tell you guys that you get the written tutorial too? I'm going to print it out and include it for you. Okay, I'm going to leave this card insert inside the card. I'll get to that later. I cut all the pieces, and I tested both ways to see if I liked it the long or short way. If you make your card in the future and you like your pattern to go vertically rather than horizontally, you can use your own pads, but I cut mine so that they're horizontal, that the lines go across. And You could also use the flowers. I just kind of thought that was a tiny bit busy. I don't know what you guys think, but there are two beautiful sides to this paper. Actually, that's not terrible either. But I do like, you know what? Maybe I will do this one just for the fun of it. I will do it for the flowers, just for a little variety, to show you that there is more than one way to skin a cat. That's what they say, right? So here we go. And then I think, although I didn't raise this one up, I think I'm going to raise this one up. Let's see, I've got some dimensionals here. Minnie probably sees another dog outside, so she's barking. I told my son that I'd be online, but he probably is on a call for work and also upset that she's barking. I have two dogs, Minnie and Mickey. Minnie is a yapper. She's a Yorkie Bichon. And Mickey is my sheepoo. And when he barks, it kind of sounds like a motor that just can't quite get going. It's like, roam, roam, roam. It's kind of funny. Anyway, here we go. Put that right there. And even though I didn't die cut these flowers, they didn't turn out half bad, did they? Isn't that pretty? Okay, so that's card number 2. Oh, I forgot that we're going to add our bow. Be careful if this unties. It's really hard. This ribbon I find a little bit slippery. I kind of liked it right up here. You could put your ribbon wherever you wanted to, but there we go. So you have to tell me which one you guys like better. And of course, when you get your card kit in the mail, you can choose which one. This is a 3x4 piece of designer paper, just in case anybody wants to duplicate it at home. So that's card number 2, and let's move on. Okay, so card number 3 is our Christmas tree card. And where did I put that sample? Right here. Isn't that pretty? So card number 3 is the Christmas card. We are going to stamp the Wisteria bundles in shaded spruce. And then once again, because I didn't find the die, we are going to cut them out really quickly. And you saw how quickly I cut it out. It didn't take long at all. So I have here my shaded spruce ink pad, my Wisteria blossoms. Just ink them up. It's hard to see with the, if you can't see, make sure you move it so that you can stamp it in an open area. Let's see, there we go. Hold it there, make contact for like 3 seconds, then you can lift it up and you can even at that point just rub it out. Pretty, huh? And guess what, guys? I made a card last week, and remember I colored with the Wisteria marker, and I said, oh, I don't understand why it's so green. I think I had stamped the Christmas trees in the shaded spruce and there was still a little bit of green. I think either I thought I had cleaned the stamp or I didn't clean it very thoroughly and there was still green on there, and that's why that card turned out the way it did, which had a very bluish tint. It was really kind of unique and I did like it. Although, like I said, it wasn't what I intended, which made the sentiment banner in the Fresh Freesia look a little odd, but it still works. Okay, so I'm just, once again, if you are going to do some fussy cutting, just move the scissor or the paper. Actually, move the paper more than move the scissor, and it works so much better. See, I'm turning the paper rather than kind of doing too much with the scissor. I may end up cutting my trees or my blossoms apart. I have to see how it fits, and when you look at this card you can see what I mean. So this, oh, I should, well, let me finish cutting this and then I'll close the ink pad. I definitely don't want to get shaded spruce on too much more. I have this die cut window. This is from the Snowman dies. And I forget the name of the stamp set, but it's in the mini catalog with the mini snowman and the scene, and it's so beautiful. So, so beautiful. One of the first stamp sets I bought. Really, really liked that. I'm going to set that aside because we're going to use this for one more card in a second. Anyway, here we have our card. Pacific Point card base. It is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of designer paper, and this designer paper, look, it's the teapot paper, the Tea Boutique 6x6 paper, and this is probably about 2.5 by 5 1/4 inches, or 5 1/8 inches. It's slightly less than this die cut. So I used a 4 by 5 1/4 die to cut this out, and it cut out perfectly. So isn't that pretty? You could cut out randomly out of a piece of paper, but then you're not going to have the perfect border. So it's much easier to cut your paper the size that you want, the 4 by 5 1/4, and then center your die cut. So really easy, and I could put it either way here. I have here, this is my snowbank. So what I'm going to do is kind of, and I have no idea how it's going to work out, we're going to kind of randomly cut our snowbank. And I could decide which side I want it to be. Get rid of my mess. Okay, I said I was going to close this. Let's close it. Put it back in my bucket for a second. What I'm going to do first, seems like there's a lot going on, but it really isn't a simple card. This is going to be able, you're going to be able to put this together in minutes because you're already going to have this die cut, and all you have to do is stamp it. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I've got my snowman window scene die cut here, just like that. I'm going to turn it upside down. I do want to figure out what side I want upright. If I was doing this, let's see, I just want to figure out how my trees will fit the best with my, see, this is what it's going to look like, right? So is that the side I want? Maybe. I can put, see, because my trees are kind of up in the air or down, I definitely am going to want to cut off one side or the other. This time I think I'm going to cut off this left one. And so we'll have 3 individual trees, 2 bunches that can go on that right there, and then 1. So I could do my window this way, or I could flip it and do it this way. So it's kind of up to you. When you get your paper, you can decide how you want to position the trees, which way you want it, the window to face, up or down. I guess this is how I did it before, just like that. And then another tree I'm going to put a little bit forward, or I could even put it on that side, whichever way I want to do it. Okay, I'm going to do it the same way as I did because that really gave optimal space, I felt. Okay, so let's move my trees for a second, put it next to my sentiment banner. Okay, I'm going to take my glue or your adhesive and add it to the back of this. If you put it on the back of your blue, it might shine through your open window here, the open space. So what we're going to do is go like this. And it doesn't matter because it's polka dot, it doesn't matter which is up or down. I'm just going to add that there. Oh, you know what? I wasn't thinking. I do want to make sure that this is added first because otherwise my snowbank is going to be underneath my sky. Let's do it like that. Turn it over and make sure, yeah, that doesn't look bad. So nobody sees what your other side looks like. So don't worry about that. That's not your big concern. Your big concern, oh, you know what? I am going to put a couple of dots of glue right there, just so it doesn't flap around in the breeze. Okay, and now what I'm going to do, my card goes like this. You can also do 4 1/4 by 11 and have your card open that way if you like. That's not how I usually do my cards. Just to let you know, that's not my style when I design cards. But if you're at home and you've got a piece of 4 1/4 by 11 inch Pacific Point cardstock, that'll work too. So here we go, kind of centered on my card front. And then what I'm going to take is, again, my dimensionals. And let's see, I'm going to trim around this a tiny bit better. And don't forget that this is originally wisteria, so your trees may not look upright, but you'll make it work. I know you will. Okay, I'm going to just add this right on the card front because I do want to have one that pops up a bit. So let's do it like this, right there. And then I'm going to add this one with dimensionals, maybe like right there. And like I said, I'm going to use dimensionals because I do want to give a little bit of interest to the front of the card. I'm using all my pieces, my little side pieces. Before I open a new package of dimensionals, I like to finish what I have. There are ideal times, like I said, the sentiment banner is an ideal time to use those pieces, but let's see, we'll just go right there. Then you know what else I did? And do I have that in front of me? I don't know. Oh yeah, here we go. I added a little bit of Wisteria to my snowflakes on the edge. You don't have to be picky, just who cares if it hits the paper. But I'm just going to color them very quickly, just like that. Just like that. Just like that. There we go. And then it's got a little bit of shine too. And there's nothing better than a card with a little bit of shine. Okay, now the last thing I'm going to do, besides add this bow that we decided it needed, and this is the glittered organdy ribbon. I'm going to put that down here, I think. I have my sentiment that I'm going to stamp. And this is another sentiment from the stamp set. It says, "Thinking of you this season," which makes this so perfect. Isn't that crazy how perfect that is? And you know what? I took my Pacific Point ink out. So hang on one more second because I used that for my card. You guys do know that as soon as this workshop is over, I'm going to find that die cut. It's every time I go over there, I look and see if I see it and it's not there. Well, where else would it go? It hasn't gone anywhere. So I just have to figure that out. What I'm going to do is be very careful that I don't rock it because you see how I've got that blue edge. I'm not being very careful today, am I? I'm going to go straight down, not rock it, hold it there for a second, and straight up. And that's how you get your perfectly stamped sentiment. You rock it, you're going to get that halo, and it's going to look not as nice. The nice thing about this, though, is that there are 2 pieces of this white cardstock, so if it doesn't work the first time, wipe it off, start over, do a more careful job the next time, and you're going to be fine. I'm going to trim this just like that. I'm going to add this right there just like I did because I really like how that looked. And then I forgot, there's one other thing that I did to this card, and you will get that in your card as well, in your card kit. I added some little snowflakes. And these snowflakes are the what are they called? Sparkle and Shine Sequins Assortment. Some of them are stars. Some of them look a little bit more like sequins. I thought that some looked like snowflakes, but maybe not. But anyway, we're going to put this down here, just like that. And then I'm going to take my glue dots again and just add a glue dot ribbon bow right here in the corner. So that's that. Okay, so what I did to add these sequins, you definitely want take your pick tool with the putty end. And I'm going to add a couple of dots of glue here and there. Just tiny, tiny little dots of glue. I suppose you could also do putting it on my tree too, because you can have some snowflakes on your tree too, right? Even though they are stars, that's okay. It's a decoration. You could maybe add these with glue dots. I just don't think it would be as easy. So let's put that there. I'm picking them up just like that. I'm going to set it down just like that. More stars, and I'll put sequins on the trees because I can. Use the other end just to hold that. Pick up another star and put that right there. Yeah. There we go. And one more star because I put that here. So just add some odd number of dots there. And then what I'm going to do is just pick up a couple of sequins and drop them, hopefully, on my glue dots on my trees. So just a couple. If you have smaller fingers, this probably works better than the way I'm doing it. But I don't have dainty fingers, so it is what it is. I think that's good right there. You know what? That may not be a dot of glue there. That might just be an area of white on the tree. So let's put one there. And I pick up a star with my gluey fingers. If you have a wipe next to you, you will do much better. One there and one there. So now it looks like snowflakes. Okay, so I'm going to drop one there. Some of these are clear. Some of these have a little bit of a silver or iridescent. So when I finish this, I'll wipe off my tip because you don't want it to be full of glue. Okay, so anyway, this is card number 2. You could add some glue behind these snowflakes, but it works fine the way it is. But isn't that pretty? And so easy. That didn't take me long again. Okay, let me clean up my mess for a second. So we've got 3 cards done now. And we are going to move on to our last card. And this one is really easy and really fun to do. You are going to use a sponge dauber to add ink to the stamp. So isn't that pretty? So, so pretty. Let me move this out of the way for a second. And I'm going to make sure that this is clean because I don't want green, yellow, red poker flowers. You could use any color, but I chose the red and yellow. So I used 3 different shades. I used Real Red for the bottom, and then I used Poppy Parade for my middle, and then I used Crushed Curry for my yellow top stems. And then I added a little bit of Winkostella to that because it needed it. I have Garden Green ink, and that is going to be used. Oh, that came right off, but I don't need that anyway. Garden Green ink is going to be used for the stems of my upright flowers, which could be hollyhocks, could be delphiniums, could be lupines, could be anything you want it to be. Here's my card kit. Boy, I've got a lot going on here, don't I? Okay, let me grab my sponge daubers. And I think the first thing we are going to do is open our card kit. Because I will stamp the stems of my paper here. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember if this is 2 3/4 by 3.5. It'll say in the directions for your card kit. I'm pretty sure it's 2 3/4 by 3.5, but I don't have any rulers here because I took them all away because I was going to write tutorials at work this weekend, which of course did not happen because there was no time to do anything except for nursing. Okay, garden green stems. They look like corn stalks to me. I grew up on a farm in New Jersey and upstate New York, so to me that looks like a corn stalk. In fact, if you did these with yellow and brown, now that I think about it, it could be the tassels of the corn. What was I thinking? Of course. So we are going to stamp, and when I did class the other night, I did move the ink around. There is a lot of ink on here, and it's a little splotchy. You take a plastic spoon or a bone folder and kind of move the ink from the center. If I do that now, it'll stain my bone folder. So, you know what? I really want to do that. I want to show you how to do this. So hold that thought for just a second. I have a bone folder here. I'm going to take my ink and I'm just going to move it out of the center just like that. And then I'm going to immediately wipe off my bone folder before it stains because I have a couple that are green and a couple that are purple. Now the stamp is a little wet, but stick in the middle and you see it's not quite so splotchy. So that's my goal, not quite so splotchy. There is a little bit of the distinctive to the stamp, but still it shouldn't look quite that splotchy. Okay, so we're going to stamp right in the middle. Not bad. Didn't look as, it looked kind of bubbly before, and that's especially hard when the weather is humid. You'll notice that your stamps might get a little bubbly. Just move that ink, and like I said, if you use a plastic spoon or a bone folder, if you use a bone folder, just make sure you rinse it right away or it's going to stain your thing. Okay, so now I've done that. Now I'm going to stamp my poker flower. And like I said, I did do it wrong when I looked online again. I forgot. I totally forgot that it's yellow moving up to red, up to the poker. But we did it the other way around because it's beautiful that way. So I've got 3 daubers here. This one to me looks like the real red. It's the darkest. So we're going to start with that. I'm going to just daub a little bit of ink at the bottom. And that's it. That's all I did, just a little bit at the bottom of the blossom. Then take your Poppy Parade and your next dauber, and I can see that this is supposed to be Poppy Parade. It's not quite as, I'm going to do that kind of in the middle, just like that. Ta-da! I'm not using a whole lot of ink. I think it's going to be okay. And if I don't have a whole lot of ink when I finish, I could maybe use my Wink of Stella to move that around a little bit. Okay, you can see that this got a little stain from red because there's red, of course, on my stamp. But I'm using the crushed curry, and that's for the top of my flower. I can see that there's a little bit of variation. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a tiny bit there. Now, just in case, I'm going to do something similar to like what I do if I was using markers to my stamp to color it. I want to huff on it to make sure it's nice and wet. Huff like warm air. And then we'll see how this is going to turn out. It's always different. When people did it in my class, it always turned out different. Not bad. So it is pretty similar. I think I had a little bit more concentrated Poppy Parade in the middle. And you know what? I could just add a little bit of Poppy Parade right there, and I don't think anybody is going to notice because it is a distinctive stamp and a little bit not clear. I think it'll be okay. Okay, just like that. We're going to call that good enough. And then what I'm going to do is, because once again, I don't have my die, I'm telling you, it's going to be right there as soon as I finish. Right there. I'm cutting around, and I'm not doing a fancy job cutting. And I very well might peel it back off the paper once I find the die and do a better job attaching it. But turn your paper rather than your scissor, and it's going to work out a little bit better for you. Just kind of follow the lines. This isn't taking me very long to do it, even without the die. I have my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss all ready to go here. Even have the right plates and everything. And when you know that that's when I can't find the die. It's going to be right there. But here we go. Now, I could be talking to myself on this. I hope that you guys are enjoying this and watching. I haven't done a workshop like this before, but $25 gets you this card kit in the mail for free. You just place the order using my host code. I like that one a little bit better because I didn't muddy it up with the sponge dauber like I did with this one, but it's not bad. There we go. Then I'm going to, let's cut off that drastic point at the top. There we go. I'm just going to take my dimensionals again, and we are going to pop up this whole little thing. You can use as many dimensionals as you want. I'm hoping I'm going to find my die and I can cut a little bit better, but some people love to use dimensionals, and then it's not going anywhere and it's doing a really good job sticking up. So if you've got the dimensionals, by all means use them. Okay, so that's that, and we are going to add that to our stems, just like that. And then what I did, you can see from this card, I have a knot of early evergreen sheer ribbon, and I will add that with a glue dot just about right here, wherever you want to add it, because it needed a little something. We're going to put that right there. And then I have my sentiment. Let me move the garden green out of the way, because I think, yes, I did. I used Memento for this. I could have used garden green, but you know what? When it comes to these small sentiments, I really like to use Memento ink because it's a little sharper. It doesn't muddy it up. So I've got my happiness grows within. And this would be really cool if it was a corn stalk, because it would be true. The goodness would be, or the happiness would be growing within the corn, the cob. There we go. I don't know why I didn't think about that to make that look like it looked so much like a corn stalk when I did that. But okay, so I've got my multi-purpose glue. I'm gonna attach that to my 1/4 inch larger. There we go. Piece of evening evergreen cardstock. Like I said, I think this is, I can't remember if it's 2.5 by 4. I really honestly don't know, but the directions are fully printed and included for you. I have my painted texture embossing folder, and we're going to attach that to the front of my Poppy Parade card base. So my card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Choose whichever side you like. I think I'm going to put my adhesive on this side, my glue. I think I like this side a little bit better. I don't think there's that much of a difference. When it comes to some of them, it's really hard to decide. This is my insert that I will stamp later. When it comes to some of them, it's really hard to decide which side is the right side. On this card, I attached it directly. I think I'm going to glue, I attached it with dimensionals. I think because I'm going to pop up my sentiment and I'm going to pop up, I've got my flowers popped up. This took me a full hour. There's my Christmas Carol clock. Keeps me on target. Okay, we've got our sentiment. I'm going to pop that up right there. Where are my dimensionals? Right here. And yes, start to finish, because I had to go grab some ink and I looked very quickly for the die cut that is not here, but it will be included in your pack. I will die cut this shape for you. So all you have to do is stamp with your clear stamps. Really easy to do because you can see right where you're putting it. All the sentiment banners are die cut. Everything you need is all ready to go. And you've got your insert, just stamp your own sentiment inside, whatever you want. But so here we go. There's the 4 cards. We'll put that right there since that one is not my perfectly cut one. Here is my Christmas card. Boy, I've got a mess going. This is what my craft room looks like when I get going. We've got this one where it's already die cut, ready to go. I like this one better. And then our 4th card was the Starry Sky. And you could choose, like I said, the floral or the stripes, and they're going to be horizontal, whatever side you want for your card kit. So, okay, I'm going to flip back. I could be talking to myself. Oh, I'm so glad to see you guys. Thanks for joining me. Wasn't this fun? I enjoy doing this. I had some extra kits. I still have 6 extra kits, and I am willing to cut 100 extra kits if you guys want to buy. So $25 purchase using my host code that I'm going to put in the comments, and you will get this card kit in the mail because I'll have your address, because I can see from your order that you placed exactly where to send your card kit. And you will get it within 2 weeks. Actually, I will send it as soon as I see your order. But thanks so much for joining me. I hope you had a great day. I hope you find time to stamp today. I am going to see you on Thursday. Wednesday night, no, I'm not going to see you on Thursday. I forgot. I have to do my next Facebook Live on Wednesday because it turns out, for some reason, I'm scheduled to work Thursday and Friday at the hospital. I leave at 5, so there's no way I can fit in a 5 o'clock Facebook Live and then leave. So Wednesday night, join me and we'll have some fun making something. See you soon. Have a great night, guys. Bye. And I'm going to say hi to all of you in your comments, so leave me comments. Bye.